Okay, so let's jump right in. Have you ever really thought about the fact that your body is constantly trying to talk to you? Not with words, obviously, but through this whole other language, feelings, sensations, all those little signals. Well, today, we're going to decode that language.
Just let that sink in for a second. We tend to think of our bodies like a car, right? A machine that sometimes breaks down. But what if you started seeing it as a loyal friend? Someone who's always on your side, always looking out for you, and truly has your best interest at heart.
And that's the big question, isn't it? Your body is definitely talking, but are you actually listening? Are you tuned in? Or is all the noise of everyday life just drowning it out? Let's take a look at what happens when we listen, and, well, when we don't.
So this whole conversation doesn't start with a big flashing emergency light. Nope. It starts quietly. Really, really quietly. This first stage is all about what we're calling the whispers. These super gentle nudges that are just so easy to miss. We're talking about the most basic messages here. It's your body just asking for its core needs to be met. It's not asking for a lot. It's that subtle feeling that, a nap would be nice, or that tiny bit of thirst you feel, but just push through so you can finish one more email.
And here's the tricky part. We're experts at explaining these whispers away. We feel fatigue, so we grab another coffee. We get some brain fog and just blame it on a busy day. Bloating? That's just something that happens. We've kind of taught ourselves that this is all normal. But every single one of these is your body's first quiet little attempt to say, hey, something's not quite right here.
All right, let's move on to stage 2. So what happens when we keep ignoring those gentle little nudges? Well, that loyal friend of yours doesn't just give up. It just turns up the volume. The whispers start turning into warnings. This is such a crucial point to get. This escalation, it's a direct result of us not acting. Your body is just trying to protect you, so it has to make its signals a little louder, a little more insistent, because the first messages just didn't land. It's basically saying, okay, you didn't hear me before, so let me try saying this a bit louder.
And these louder signals are way harder to ignore, right? We're talking about those weird aches and pains that pop up, sudden mood swings that feel like they come from nowhere, or skin breakouts. These aren't just little annoyances anymore. They're clear signs that whatever was causing the whisper is still there, and it's getting worse.
So you can see the whole progression laid out right here. It starts with those quiet whispers. If we ignore them, they become warnings. And if we still don't listen, the body has to move to its final, most critical stage, the shouts. It's a really predictable path, and a preventable one.
And this brings us to that third and final stage, the shouts. Okay, we're not talking about subtle suggestions or a little discomfort anymore. These are the body's emergency flares. These are the critical alarms telling you something is seriously wrong.
It's a pretty stark reality. When we keep neglecting the whispers and the warnings, we force our body into a state of crisis. The shouts are basically its last-ditch effort to get our attention before some major systems start to fail.
And look at what these shouts actually are. We're talking about chronic illness, total burnout, an immune system that's so weak it just can't fight anything off. These are not temporary problems. These are major health conditions that can change your life. This is the price of a conversation that's been ignored for way too long. So when you boil it all down, we're looking at a pretty clear choice. There are two paths. We can go down the road of ignoring the whispers, and that leads directly to burnout and illness. Or we can choose the path of learning to listen, and that one leads to energy, nourishment, and real health. Where we end up is completely up to us.
Now, I know this might sound a little intense, but here's the really, really good news. It is never too late to start listening. We can all reconnect with our bodies, and the way to do it is actually surprisingly simple. It's accessible to every single one of us.
The whole secret is to catch it early, way back in the whisper stage. You don't need some complex, expensive program. The real solution is just getting back to the absolute basics of taking care of yourself. It's about honoring those first gentle requests from your body.
And the how really comes down to these 5 simple things. Honoring that whisper for rest instead of grinding through it. Actually drinking some water when you feel thirsty. It's about feeding your body good food, moving it in a way that feels good, and just giving it the gift of a deep breath. I mean, none of this is rocket science, right? But doing these things consistently, well, that's a revolutionary act of self-care.
And that's really what it all comes down to. If you take one thing away, let it be this. The goal is just to tune in and respond. To respond with care, compassion, and action,
long before those whispers ever have a chance to become screams.
So as we wrap up, I just want to leave you with this question. Just take a quiet second for yourself right now. Maybe even close your eyes. What is your body, your loyal friend, whispering to you today? And more importantly, what are you going to do about it?